Jumping from one meeting to the next is exhausting, and pushing back is not always realistic. But here's what I learned being in IT for 15 years. You don't need fewer meetings. You need smarter transitions and boundaries to protect your energy. So in the next few minutes, you'll learn the system that keeps me sharp and prevents me from turning into a complete zombie by 2 p.m. Because those days are behind me and I'm not going back. My calendar used to look gorgeous, back-to-back meetings, and everything was necessary. Everything was important. You know, product sync at 9 a.m., one-on-one with my lead developer at 10, design review at 11. You get the point. I was there, contributing and taking notes. But by 2 p.m., I could not remember what we agreed on the product sync in the morning. By 4 p.m., I was so grumpy, I could not stand the idea of talking to anyone. By 5 p.m., I was back at my desk with a massive to-do list that made me cry more times than I'm willing to admit. Because I had zero energy to do anything else. All I wanted to do was to go back home, Netflix and chill. And here's the worst part. I felt like it was my fault. I blamed myself for not being productive enough. Because look at all the other people I work with. Nobody was falling apart. They seemed to have everything under control. So what the hell was wrong with me? Then I read an article, and it changed everything. The American Psychological Association cited a research that stated switching between tasks reduces your productivity by up to 40%. Because think about it. Every time you join a meeting, your brain has to drop the previous context, load the new one, and rebuild your focus from scratch. That takes a lot of energy, even if you don't realize it. So I decided to run an experiment. Instead of jumping from one meeting to the next, I decided to switch how I was organizing my calendar. Since I cannot skip meetings, why not minimize how often my brain needs to switch context? And here's what actually works. The first thing I did was to stop organizing my calendar by what fits and start grouping the meetings by what my brain had to do. All the people conversations went into one block. I'm talking about one-on-ones, coaching the juniors, handling conflicts. Those usually were handled in one block in the morning. Because let's be honest, this is when I'm most fresh and I have extra patience. All the tactical decision making went into a separate block. We're talking about product roadmaps, prioritization, budget meetings. Those were handled separately. And the difference was immediate. Because instead of jumping between motivating a burnt out colleague and optimizing the roadmap for Q4, my brain could focus on one mode at a time. So how can you apply this? Pull up your calendar for next week and circle all the meetings that go together. Everything that requires similar type of energy, and start clustering them together. Even putting 2-3 meetings in a row that require the same type of energy will make a difference for you. Now, the second shift saved my sanity. Here's what I used to do. Close one Zoom meeting, jump to the next, and on to the next, and on to the next. I kept telling myself, let me just get through this batch of meetings, and then I'll take a long break. But let's be honest, work never ends. And you might need to join more ad hoc meetings that were not even planned. So here's what I do now. I take 5 minutes after each meeting to reset. And in that time, I write down what we decided in the meeting, what needs to be done, and one sentence to close that loop. It could be as simple as designs approved, moving forward. Then I take 30 seconds to stretch my back, have some water, and look out the window, just to give my eyes a break. And here's the thing, it sounds stupidly simple, but I promise you it works. This is the difference of carrying 8 open tabs in your mind and closing them as you go. Here's a challenge for you. At the end of your next meeting, block 5 minutes to reset. Put it in your calendar if you need to. And if people try to book over it, just tell them that you're wrapping up your previous call. Most people will back off and give you space to finish your meeting. By the way, if you want the exact template that I use to reset after meetings, let me know in the comments and I'll send a link to you. Let's be honest, some meetings are a lot more exhausting than others. Whether it's a performance review, a layoff discussion, or a heated conversation about priorities. But I used to schedule my day as if all meetings were the same, as if they all required the same level of energy. And that was wrong. Now, after any meeting that I know will be heavy, be it cognitively or emotionally, I make sure to block 15 to 30 minutes to do nothing. And my favorite nothing to do is to take my dog Jimmy out for a walk. We get some playtime, we get some fresh air, and I always come back with a smile on my face. You need to get in the habit of tagging your meetings, not only based on priority, but based on how much they weigh on you. And if something is heavy, make sure to give yourself some time to bounce back. Even disconnecting for 15 minutes will allow you to come back fresh. The next point took me years to learn and understand. Not every update needs a meeting. I used to have a weekly sync with every person I worked with, and we would sit together for at least 30 minutes to go through what happened. But let's be honest, that could have easily been a Slack message. So I tested something. For 2 weeks, I asked people to send me a written update that covered 3 points: what they delivered, what blockers they had, and what they're working on next. And of course, if someone needed a conversation about any of the blockers or any of the topics, we scheduled a meeting. But 80% of the time, the written update was enough. And you know what surprised me the most? My team loved it because they no longer had to interrupt their flow to attend a meeting and then get back to work. They simply dropped an update on Slack between their tasks and got back to their priorities. So here's a challenge for you. Pick one recurring meeting in your calendar and ask yourself if that's something that could be written instead. If yes, test it out for 2 weeks. Replace the meeting with a written update, and I promise you'll keep it. After setting this system in place, the batching, the resets, the recovery zones, here's the part that surprised me the most. I was not only less exhausted, I showed up better to the meetings that I kept. I was energized and focused. People noticed to the extent that I was cold, annoyingly cheerful all the time. But that's a story for another day. Remember, you don't need fewer meetings. You need better transitions. Start small. Pick one thing that you learned today and give it a go. Because the idea is not for you to revamp your entire calendar overnight. It's to stop treating your brain as if it was designed to run on empty and create a workflow that supports you. Let me know in the comments which action you'll try